Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in this video, as the title says, we're going to be discussing diet breaks. So what is a diet break? A diet break, as it sounds, is a break from your diet. So you don't actually take a complete break from your diet, but if you're on a fat loss phase and you're eating in a calorie deficit, obviously to lose fat, then the diet break is just bringing your diet from the calorie deficit back to maintenance. Okay, so you're eating in a calorie deficit. I'll usually implement this around 10 to 12 week mark if a client is losing fat for a long period of time. So 10 to 12 weeks, once the diet has got very monotonous, it's the same thing day in, day out, it can become quite stressful on the body and mentally it can become quite stressful. So what I like to do is I'll add in a week or 2 weeks of maintenance calories. So physiologically this is good because it'll just give your body a bit of a break. It can be quite stressful dieting, especially being in a calorie deficit for that longer period. But the main thing I use it for is the psychological benefit. So psychologically it can be very tedious. If you've ever dieted, it can be very tedious eating in a calorie deficit. You're constantly hungry, you're constantly thinking about food. But if you can bring your calories back up to maintenance, that kind of goes away for a week or two. And then you can attack the diet again. So psychologically it is really, really good. It just puts you in a better place. It gives you a bit of a break. You have a bit more leeway, you have more food to play with. During that time, you're gonna be better in the gym, you're gonna train better, you're gonna feel better. And then once you finish that 1 or 2 weeks, and then you can go back into the diet. So the analogy I like to use with diet breaks for clients is imagine you're climbing a mountain. So if you have a really, really big mountain to climb, for example, Mount Everest, that's a lot of weight to lose. So the bigger the mountain, the more times you have to stop up the mountain to acclimatize. So I would say a diet break is kind of like acclimatization. So you're acclimatizing to that current body weight and then you can climb again. So for example, in Mount Everest, you're gonna go to base camp, you're gonna acclimatize, you have to go up again, acclimatize, and then go again. Okay, so the bigger the mountain, the more weight you have to lose, the more diet breaks you might have to implement. So when you would use a diet break, I'll usually use a diet break. It's very dependent on each person, how they handle dieting. So for some people it can be very stressful, for other people they just breeze straight through it. So you don't actually have to use a diet break even if you are dieting for a long period of time. So there is mixing research to suggest that diet breaks can be beneficial physiologically to lose more weight, and then there's research to say that it really doesn't matter. But all the research says that the psychological break you get from dieting can be very beneficial. So if you're one of these people and you do feel that it does take its toll on you psychologically, then a diet break would be brilliant to implement. But when I would implement it is, me personally, I do it, like I said, around the 10 to 12 week mark, just because I think that's a good amount of time to see a lot of fat loss. And then that is when it starts getting a bit monotonous. Also with clients, if they're going away on holiday, brilliant time to add in a diet break. They're generally away on holiday for a week or 2 weeks. This is you don't want to really be eating in a deficit while you're away. Again, it's just going to be added stress. Around holiday time, like Christmas or Easter, any holidays people celebrate, this is another great time to add in a diet break. Or if people are just getting generally a bit more stressed during just life. So if your life is getting a bit more stressful or you've got a stressful time at work, then adding a diet break in then can be very beneficial as well. Just because it can be quite taxing and quite stressful for the body and the mind. So adding a little diet break in when you feel you need it can be extremely beneficial. So a question I get a lot from clients is when they go on a diet break, are they going to gain a lot of weight? But if so, the answer is no. If you go to maintenance calories, then no, you shouldn't be adding fat. You are going to add some weight because obviously if you've been in such a calorie deficit, once you add things back in, so for example, you add some sodium back in, so salt, or you add some carbs back in, that's going to start drawing water into the body, and then that's just going to increase your weight. Also, just eating more generally, having more food in the stomach is again going to increase your weight. So these are a couple of things to be aware of. If you do go on a diet break and you do gain a few pounds, that is completely natural. You are going to gain a few pounds. And what I think a diet break is I find it's such a really good thing to implement because it gives you a chance to test the waters, what you're going to be like once you finish the diet. So if you do go on a diet break for 1 to 2 weeks, this is essentially you finishing the diet, but for 1 to 2 weeks, so you get an idea of what you're going to be like once you finish the diet. So it's just a great way to test the waters to see what it's going to be like. So if you do finish your diet, you're going to go to maintenance calories anyway. So this is just going to give you a good idea of what it's going to be like once you do finish the diet. So I personally do love diet breaks. I use them with a lot of fat loss clients. I use them with myself, and they've been very, very successful, but it is very individual. So if you're struggling with your diet, it's a good idea to take a diet break instead of just completely crashing, burning, and then completely forgetting about the diet. So if you feel like you're in a place where you could use a little break, then a diet break is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant thing to implement. And it doesn't have to just be 1 to 2 weeks. It can potentially be a bit longer. It just depends how long you need to reset and then go back into the fat loss phase. I hope that has helped. If you have any questions on diet breaks, please drop them below, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.